Welcome back to the TWSN YouTube channel. Today we have another NFL mock draft. This one is post NFL Combine, post the couple hectic days we've had with the Russell Wilson news, the Calvin Ridley news, Aaron Rodgers deciding to stay in Green Bay. So now it's time to revisit the board, get back on track, and see what things have shaken up. Like I said, it says post Combine as well. And if you missed it, our team had some great coverage on the Combine. I advise you to go check that out on the Instagram and Twitter as well. But don't be afraid to subscribe here on the YouTube channel as well. Now we can kind of just get into things. There's a lot of risers and fallers from the Combine. There's going to be some surprises in here and some fallers in here as well. It's typical. The Combine, I think, played a little bit more importance this year because everybody's kind of so close in skill level that the athletic value of these players and athletic ability is something that I think a lot of teams will look at because that's kind of how the league's going. Everybody wants super freak athletes, and I think we'll probably see a theme of that within the first couple rounds in the draft this year. But like I said, we can go ahead and get right into it. And right away, I think I'm going to do something a little different. It's becoming a little more common, but I'm going to go ahead and just pencil in Ekwonu here at number 1. It's always been Evan Neal for the most part, but them tagging Cam Robinson the other day doesn't affect us too much, but I do think it affects it a little bit. Ekwonu can go in and slide inside and play guard for a little bit until Robinson leaves. Then you still have a dominant left tackle if Robinson does leave. It's just the versatility there is what separates Ekwonu from Neal for me, and I think Neal is probably slightly a better tackle, but if you want a more versatile, well-rounded player, I think Ekwonu is your guy at the first overall pick. Now, 2, the Detroit Lions. I think it's just going to be Aiden Hutchinson. There ain't much to it. Michigan guy going to Detroit. The Lions seem to love him. It just kind of seems like a fit at this point, and that's really that. There aren't much explanation to it. Next here with the Texans at 3. This is the first pick where I think you can really see a number of different guys go, but for me, the best player in the draft is Kayvon Thibodeaux, and I think the Texans salivate at that opportunity and swoop him up there at 3. It's just best player, best athlete, just a really, really good player here at 3, and I don't think the Texans should overthink it. If he's at the top of their board, which he should be, write it in, make Kayvon Thibodeaux a Texan. 4, I think the Jets are extremely happy that Evan Neal is still on the board. You get another tackle. They have Becton. They're going to have to work some things out. But just in general, they need offensive line play, and you don't miss an opportunity to draft a guy like Evan Neal when you have that offensive line needs. Here at 5, it's a little tough. The Giants need offensive line help, but they also pick at 7. But the thing is, I think that there's a good chance that the Panthers will be kind of in the market for an offensive lineman here. So I think the Giants play this pick safe and grab Charles Cross, kind of snipe him a little bit from the Panthers there, and force the Panthers to maybe go a different direction or maybe just reach for a different offensive lineman. You could argue that Trevor Penning can go here. Maybe they like some centers or some interior offensive line with Linderbaum. But for right now, with how the board fell, you never know what the Panthers are going to do. If they do it, it could buy Matt Rule some more time in Carolina. I think this is the first spot where I like Malik Willis to go. It's tough because Malik Willis, in my opinion, needs a year to sit. And he's probably the best quarterback on Carolina's roster right away. So that'll be interesting development to see how that plays out if this is how the board actually falls. Now here at 7, one of my favorite players in the class. I've been on him for a while. I've told people months ago that he is going to go way higher than people expected. Crushed the Combine, flying up draft boards. Trayvon Walker here at 7, and honestly, it's a little low for me. I could see him going as high as 4, 5, 7. I think is probably the lowest he'll go. Maybe 8, but guy's an absolute stud. This Georgia team, you're going to hear from Georgia so many times during this draft process, so just get used to it. Now here at 8, like I said, post Calvin Ridley news, this has to be a receiver here. It doesn't have to be, but it just makes sense for the Falcons to pick whoever they have as their wide receiver 1, and I think it's going to be Garrett Wilson. I think he's probably the most NFL ready. His routes are super crisp. He's an athlete. Just kind of a safer prospect compared to some of the other guys with still a pretty high ceiling as well. Now, Seattle Seahawks here at 9. I think a lot of people, when the trade went down, they assumed this pick was going to be a quarterback, and I just don't believe that. It just shouldn't be, in my opinion. Let Drew Lock have a year. If he sucks, sweet, you have a top pick next year. If he's great, maybe you found your guy. I doubt that's the case, but maybe so. So I don't think they go quarterback here. Unless they really, really love one. I still don't think they should. But something that the Seahawks have always coveted, and players in general, especially at this position, is length. And I think that Sauce Gardner, fits perfectly with what they've looked for in corners. They love long, tall, lanky corners, and Sauce Gardner is just that. I could totally see them going with Jermaine Johnson or David Ajabo there. But for now, I just think they really like that length. Their ideal corner is honestly Sauce Gardner. I feel like that's everything they look for in a player. So I think it's kind of a match made in heaven there. Now here at 10 for the Jets, man, extremely happy with Kyle Hamilton falling this far. I don't necessarily know if that's going to happen, because I think he's probably the one of the only generational prospects in this draft class, just because safety is a weird position. But yeah, I think here at 10, the Jets have to be pretty ecstatic about that one. Now 11, I think Washington, the rumors have it they're out on quarterbacks this year in this draft. I think they'll make a move for one. We've seen them be players in all the quarterbacks so far. We saw the rumor they've asked every team what the price is for their quarterback, which is pretty hilarious to me. So I don't think they're going to go with the quarterback here. I think this is a little tough one. I think they're going to continue their theme of building up that defense and add Derek Stingley Jr. Their secondary was not very good last year. I know everybody battled a bunch of injuries really last year for Washington, but they still got some really good pieces. And adding a corner like Derek Stingley at 11 is a pretty good thing for them to do. And like I said, I imagine they will be heavily in the market for one of the free agent quarterbacks, maybe Mitch Trubisky, Marcus Mariota, maybe even Jameis Winston, or they'll go make a move for some of the quarterbacks on block, maybe Jimmy G, maybe Jordan Love, whoever it is. I think they'll take that route as opposed to a rookie, at least at pick 11. 12, the Vikings, they can use a little bit of everything. I think that they need some corner help. I like Trent McDuffie there a lot. Just position of need, really good player, a little bit of a do-it-all player. Just kind of fits. The Browns for me is a tough one. I think it's always been kind of a wide receiver in a lot of people's mind. But I think the Browns are really going to really be excited to have the opportunity to draft Jordan Davis from Georgia. I think having him with Myles Garrett and, if they can re-sign Clowney is something that they're just going to absolutely love the idea of in that gut punching bully ball AFC North. I think Jordan Davis will fit right in, and we all saw the type of athlete he was. Unreal performer at the combine. Literally have never seen it before. Just mind-blowing. I think the Browns will be extremely happy for him to be there at 13. Now, 14, this could go either one of these edge rushers here or offensive line, and I think they're going to lean Trevor Penning. Trevor Penning has kind of been my penciled-in pick for the Ravens if he's there lately, just because he feels like a Baltimore Raven. The Ravens, like I said, in the AFC North, bully ball. And when you describe Trevor Penning, he's a bully. Like, he's a physical mauler, and I think the Ravens, he just fits right in with that Raven culture, and I think it's a pretty perfect match. Now, the Eagles here at 15 and 16, as well as coming up at 19. First pick is super easy. Jermaine Johnson's a home run pick for them. I'm honestly considering double dipping and giving them Jermaine Johnson and David Ajabo. But I don't quite know if I can do that. Oh man, do I want to do it? Let's do this first. I think they have 3 picks in the first round. It's going to be an edge, a corner, maybe a receiver, and then potentially an interior offensive lineman or another defensive player. Like I said, they have 3 picks. They'll address 4 or 5 of those positions, or they have 4 or 5 of those positions to address with these 3 picks. We'll see what they're going to do. But for now, I'm going to go with Andrew Booth because I think there's a good chance he could be taken by one of these next 2 teams. And like I said, if David Ojabo continues to fall to them at 19, then you can rationalize double dipping a little more. 17 for the Chargers. It's a tough one. I think that for a while this has always been my Jordan Davis pick, and now he's not necessarily there. So I'm going to go with the other Georgia interior defensive lineman, Devontae Wyatt. Super good athlete as well. A lot of these other interior defensive linemen that you're going to hear after Jordan Davis tested phenomenally well, and if Jordan Davis wasn't a person, they'd be getting so much more hype. So if your team drafts one of these interior defensive linemen, don't be upset it's not Jordan Davis. Just look into them a little more before you react. 18 here for the Saints. This is obviously be another quarterback position as well, but I think it's going to be a receiver, and I really like Jameson Williams that fit there. With Michael Thomas. Michael Thomas, dominates underneath and in the intermediate game, and Jameson Williams can be your playmaker with the ball in his hands, stretch the field, just provide a little more balance to this Saints offense. We'll see who their quarterback is. My guess, if I had to guess today, I'd lean Jameis Winston, but who really knows? New Orleans is in a little bit of uncharted territory without Sean Payton, without a quarterback, so it'll be interesting to see how that plays out. Now here at 19, like I said, they're getting David Ojabo. It's just happening. I know they double dipped here at the edge, but these are 2 freak athletes. I don't like that David Ojabo fell this low in my mock because I am a huge David Ojabo fan. But the Eagles have 3 first-round picks. You need to pick the best players available, and I think they did that here at 19 with David Ojabo. And I mean, if Ojabo and Jermaine Johnson hit, man, that's gonna be a scary defensive front for a long time. 20 here, Pittsburgh Steelers. Pretty easy for me. Kenny Pickett. If Kenny Pickett is there, he will be a Pittsburgh Steelers pretty confidently. I think there's a good chance he will be there. So I think everybody in Pittsburgh will be really happy. Obviously, Kenny Pickett played his college ball at Pittsburgh. He played in Heinz Field. Like, it's just everything there fits like a glove, or in Kenny Pickett's case, 2 gloves. So I think that Pittsburgh Steelers fans will be really happy. Pittsburgh, Panthers, is that their college mascot? Pittsburgh Panther fans will be really happy, and just make the whole city extremely happy here. 21 with the New England Patriots is a tough one for me. I think the Patriots could go linebacker here. They could go corner here. They could even go a receiver here. Drake London, Treylon Burks are possible options as well. Who do I like here for the Patriots? There's not too many corners left. Let's go ahead and let's give them... These linebackers are really tough. I'm not going to be surprised if any one of these guys jump in front. I mean, Leo Chenal down here feels like a Patriot, man. But I'm gonna give them Devin Lloyd. I feel like he fits the kind of athlete the Patriots want. I'm a big Nakobe Dean guy, but that style is just a little weird for the Patriots. I think they like their bigger body guys, which is why they lean a guy like Devin Lloyd, or maybe they even go Christian Harris from Alabama, who dominated the combine as well. It's a total possibility. Now here, 22, the Raiders could definitely shake some things up here. I'd like the possibility of them adding Chris Olave, to kind of complement some of the guys they have. They could address interior defensive line, the interior offensive line with Linderbaum. I think that I'm going to roll with one of these. I think I'm going to give him Chris Olave. I think Olave kind of fits what they're looking for in that other receiver position. He tested really well. You have Waller, you have Renfro, and I think you're missing that down the field threat a little bit. we saw the production Zay Jones had when he got comfortable there near the end of the year. And I think it's pretty confident to say that Chris Olave is better than Zay Jones. So I think that's a pretty good fit. And within the new Raiders scheme, I guess, that's something to consider as well. Maybe they change up their philosophy a little bit this year. 23 with the Cardinals. I think they're kind of hoping one of those corners fall to them. But if not, I really do like George Karlaftis to them. Chandler Jones is probably gone. J.J. Watt's getting up there in age. You have some solid linebackers. You have a decently young defense with some playmakers. Obviously, you have your vets as well. But I think Karlaftis there at 23 gives them a young pass rusher, and that's kind of the one area that they don't have youth at. And you get a pretty solid potential stud in George Karlaftis all the way down here at 23. 24, this one's pretty easy for me. Zion Johnson to the Cowboys makes a lot of sense. Connor Williams is probably going to be gone. Their offensive linemen are getting up there in age. You need another stud in the interior, and I think Zion Johnson will kind of slide right in and just fit that like a glove, if I'm being honest. Now, 25, the Bills. I agree with their team needs here. I think it's going to be interior defensive line or edge here, and it's tough, but I like Perron Winfrey here, man. I've been a big fan of his for a while. I had him going early day 2 for a while. I think his combine performance will appeal to a team like Buffalo, and he just kind of feels like a Bill. It just kind of fits. You have Ed Oliver. Your defensive line's okay. It's nothing crazy. So they need some more youth and some more upside, and I think Winfrey does that there at 25. Here for the Titans at 26. This one's tough because I'd like to give him a receiver, but I don't necessarily know if they want another big body receiver like this. They definitely could. I'm going to hold out on receiver, and I'm going to give him another linebacker, I believe, and I'm going to give him to Kobe Dean. Just an athlete, super fast linebacker, a little undersized, so some people have him fallen a little bit. But I think it makes sense for them to address and get a super good athlete there at 26. The Bucs here at 27, another team that could do a little bit of anything. I think that there's a very high chance that Ryan Jensen leaves in free agency. It's going to be kind of hard to convince him to stay with the cap situation being a question mark, quarterback situation being a question mark. So I think they'll take advantage of the falling Tyler Linderbaum here at 27 and just, shore up that position right away. And whoever for the quarterback is, you get a young guy. You don't have to worry about the chemistry right away because they can build it. There's nothing to worry about. 28, with the Aaron Rodgers news, I've never really mocked this as a receiver, but now I do think it's going to be a receiver. I think Drake London here is compliment to Devontae Adams is unreal to think about with Aaron Rodgers as well. I do want to say this about the receivers, man. It's going to be so interesting to see where they all fall because they're all pretty different. Like from Jameson Williams to Drake London, from Garrett Wilson to Treylon Burks, and then you have your Laves, you have your Dotsons, you have your Christian Watsons. Like everything is going to be so crazy, and like I had the first one going here, Garrett Wilson here at 8. But if we're being honest, I've always liked Treylon Burks here because he's so similar to A.J. Brown. Arthur Smith now in Atlanta. Maybe he wants his A.J. Brown and Treylon Burks, or maybe he wants another big body receiver and opts to go with Drake London instead. So, same thing here for the Saints with Jameson Williams. Maybe they love a big body receiver for their next quarterback. Maybe same thing for the Raiders. Maybe they didn't like the Bryan Edwards pick. Maybe they want to go back and add another big body receiver. It's just going to be super interesting to see where those receivers go because they're all immensely talented, and I don't think anybody has a full grasp yet on where they're going to fall. 29 for the Dolphins. We just talked about it. I'm going to give them Treylon Burks here. Two people that Treylon Burks comps get thrown around with a lot are Deebo Samuel and I just said A.J. Brown. Not that this guy's going to be used like Deebo Samuel by any means, but he's got that build. He's got that ability. And, Mike McDaniel's coming over from San Francisco. I think that there's a chance they have a really creative offense You have Jalen Waddle. You can be super creative with him. You have Treylon Burks. Now you can be super creative with him. I think Mike McDaniel will be salivating over a guy like Treylon Burks because he's so versatile, and that's kind of been his game in the NFL so far. You never know what he's gonna do, what he's gonna pull out of his hat, and I think that it's a pretty good fit there, and something I don't like. I said, it's tough for me to even see some of these guys being available this late, but like if it wouldn't surprise me if this is Jamison Williams and Chris Olave available here. If that's the case, I wouldn't see the Dolphins necessarily go with one of those guys. But if Treylon Burks is there at 29, I really like his fit with the Miami Dolphins. Now the Chiefs at 30, it's a pretty tough thing because they obviously have always rumored to be in the market for a receiver. I think, bro, I mean, if I'm being honest, all of these receivers obviously fit the Chiefs pretty well. Jahan Dotson, awesome. And Sky Moore specifically would be awesome fits for the Chiefs. Absolutely unreal. But I think there's just more pressing needs for them. I just think there's more pressing needs for them. And a guy, I've been on this for a while. This guy flew up the drafts recently because of his combine performance. Lewis Cine from Georgia. I just feel like he's a Chief, man. He's your super fast, athletic, back of the end guy. Tyrann Mathieu probably gonna walk in free agency. So it just feels like a match made in heaven. I think that they could definitely opt for a wide receiver here. Maybe they want to address their corner position and go Kyle Elam. Maybe they want to take a shot at one of these edge rushers. A high upside guy like Boyan Mafe would be awesome here for them. But now here with the Bengals at 31, this one is really, 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 really tough for me. Because I think that the Bengals are going to do a lot on the offensive line and in free agency. So I don't necessarily want to mock them an offensive lineman, but I've always told myself there's only three offensive linemen that have a realistic shot at being here at 31 that I think they should consider because I think they are day one starters. And that's Zion Johnson, that's Tyler Linderbaum, and that's Kenyon Green. I don't know if I want to pull the trigger on Kenyon Green yet. If I didn't, it would be a position like corner. Kyrie Elam here at 31 is pretty interesting. Same thing for Kyler Gordon. Even Tariq Woolen dominated the combine. Wouldn't be shocked to see his name thrown in the mix here. And I really want to go with a defensive player because I think they're going to address the offensive line in free agency. But I just don't think I can pass on Kenyon Green, man. I think he's just exactly what they want. He's a pretty versatile offensive lineman that can do a lot of different things. And coming into this mock, I sat down and I was I don't want to pick an offensive lineman for the Bengals. But I think with the way this board fell, you have to be extremely happy with Kenyon Green here at 31. Even if you do address the offensive line in free agency, he's still going to be a starter for you. Even if you add 3 new ones, you can figure it out. You can get him in there. And you add some good you finally add a good young offensive lineman, which is something they need as well to protect Joe Burrow, because they don't just have to protect Joe Burrow for 2 or 3 years. They need to protect Joe Burrow for the rest of his career. And I think that's a good start here with Kenyon Green at 31. Now, here at 32 with the Lions, I love this dude sneaking into the back end of the first. I've done it so many times. Christian Watson dominated the combine, smaller school guy. I think the Lions are definitely going to be one of the more willing teams to take a risk on Christian Watson in the first round. Like I said, the wide receivers are so unbelievably tough to mock. It really is, because the class is so deep. The free agency, there's so many good wide receivers. Like I said, maybe Atlanta, they just lost Calvin Ridley. Maybe they're going to go add a top wide receiver now in the market. But as you can see on the screen, a little bit of a recap of the draft. Kind of just look at over all the picks a little bit. Like I said, it's been a pretty hectic week. Calvin Ridley news, Russell Wilson news, moving the Seahawks into the 9th pick. What's Denver going to do now? How's Seattle going to rebuild? Aaron Rodgers back in Green Bay. What's going to be the aftermath of all this? And I think, there's a bunch of franchise tag players that were a little bit surprises, or some non-tagged franchise tag players that were surprising. But if you follow along on the TWSN social media channels, on the Twitter, Instagram, we'll even have some more breakdowns here on the YouTube channel. You will see our reaction. We'll break as much news as physically possible, and it's a good follow. Definitely give us a follow before free agency kicks off this upcoming week. We're going to be killing the draft coverage. Like I said, if you did not see our coverage of the Combine, I highly recommend you go through our social media, and you can see some interviews that we conducted with players. And see, maybe one of your favorite guys is on there. Maybe you're interested to see what they say. But please go check out and follow us along on all the TWSN social media accounts. And I hope to see you guys here on the TWSN YouTube channel again soon.